Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Tokitus Live. We are, I think, exactly on time. This is a therapist couch, as we've done that weekly, and we'll keep on doing this. Today, we'll be talking about being strong and the pressure which is combined with that. Furthermore, I'll be talking to Nataliya. She's a psychoanalyst, and we'll shed some light on this. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist, and for those who don't maybe get a little confused, analyst, so to say, behavioral therapist, and so forth, just to give you a brief information on that, it's on the basically schools and approaches. One is naturally the first one from Freud. It was psychoanalysis that started everything. And actually, that was a breaking point of saying to be able to take care of people with mental illness without thinking they're demonized or putting them into chains and so forth, which was fantastic. And it started from there. The next one is Gestalt, for example. One more is systemic, family therapy. One is CBT. So to get a better understanding, it's good to for yourself to go and get some information on this. There's enough on the net that you can get that. But please get it from reliable sources, and you can see that for yourself, which one would suit, or just get more information about it. And if you want to go and try some sort of a therapy, so which line of which direction you like to go. And you can always change it, and it doesn't take years, okay, but depending case to case situation. But it's important for me to have said that, so you guys have a good understanding about that. And being strong, meaning it's very general. We can say it depends on the context. Some people feel that they're weak, but certain things that they do is extremely powerful and strong, maybe because they were told that they were weak, so that's something. We're going to shed some light on this, and I'm going to invite Nataliya. I hope she's here. Let me see. Yes, there she is. And are we going down to it now? I'm expecting her. Yes, there she is.
Hey, Ali.
Hello. How are you?
Nice to see you here.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for coming in. I
Yeah,
already did
sure.
a bit of an introduction, so to say. Of course, I'm going to let you introduce yourself naturally. But one thing which I think the audience should know about is also, we say one is an analyst, or one is a behavioral therapist. What is this? Is psychology the same as psychotherapy, like that? But we don't want to get too much into detail with that. But that there are different schools. Yes, there are different schools, and depending on the therapist himself or herself, they choose the one which suits them best, which they can feel best to work that. Okay, and there is also, because the psyche is so complex, it's not like one size fits all. There are people, clients, patients, whatever you want to call them, these are labeling, that prefer one than the other, but it's good to know beforehand what it is. And that's why initially I said you're a psychoanalyst and I'm a CBT. And especially in the United States, this has been going around that, they compete against each other, so forth, which I don't think it should be that way. And I think every approach has something from another anyway from it. And it all started with psychoanalysis and Sigmund Freud before even anything could start. It started with him, and that was a great help naturally. And it evolved. Psychodynamics came and so forth. And the audience can naturally go and look into that so they can get a better understanding. Anyway, so Nataliya, could you be kind enough to just give us a bit of information about yourself before we get into this whole, it's a very general topic, so to say, being strong. Yeah, being strong in which situation, which context? Being strong in for example, today we're everybody has to cope with it. Okay, it's better to cope being strong than that. Anyway, we're going to get into that, but just please go ahead. Just let us know a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we are living in this kind of narcissistic era, you know, when all people are stressed, they have to achieve something, and of course, we feel pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
I see also my clients in the practice, they are struggling because of this pressure of the society that we are living now today.
Mm-hmm.
And there is kind of a misconception that not showing emotions, like being all the time rational, that it means to be strong, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm, okay.
But um, is it really like that?
Well, as I said, this is today we're talking about that. We'll go back and forth a little bit to find out what it is, and I hope we're going to, within the short time that we have, to have a broad uh, understanding of it, and maybe some parts will pinpoint down. What about yourself? You said you're a psychoanalyst. You have also enough experience in this with your clients, as you said. But what is actually the meaning of being strong, as you just said,
Mhm.
depending on the and we can actually start with the present situation, and we can expand it. Right now, I think pressure comes from all over the place due to this whole COVID issue,
Mhm. Yeah.
and we're all in, so to say, everybody has enough on their plate.
Mhm.
This could be not only financially, which basically leads to many different parts uh, of the life of everybody who is in civilization. Naturally, if you would be living in the woods or something, money would be a secondary. Then they need to be able to hunt or something. And if you don't have a gun, then you have the
Yes.
same problem. Okay, and so that's one, for example. And then the lot of people that have to live together, meaning even though they're in love and they're family and everything, uh, the routine has changed, and you see them 24/7, which
Mhm.
sometimes brings this, so to say, friction,
Mhm.
that comes in. So that is also one thing I've noticed. What do you? What is the best way of understanding this? Meaning that it's expected from you to be strong. Is it something which your environment is forcing on you, or is it something that is from person to person is different? Especially men, that
Mhm.
they have to be the strong pillars.
Mhm.
They have to be.
Yeah. A
And
lot.
often when you look into it, the very strong man has to have a strong woman behind him to
Mhm.
to be able to do this. And that's very much underrated, I must say. That the a lot of women uh, had to be strong during all these times because of always seeing as almost like a second, first men, second women. That it's got
Yes.
that's already enough pressure as it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
But what do you have to say to that? I mean, for example, we have. Oh, by the way, we got also certain questions from our audience.
Oh.
And right now, if you want, you can also naturally write your questions, and we'll do our best
Mhm.
to respond to that.
Of
Okay.
course. Yes.
Something that we had. What do we think is strong? Not showing emotions, or
Mhm.
crying, or more like a visual thing. Is
Mhm.
that understood that way, or how would you say that
Yeah,
being strong?
I would say there is some kind of the misconception in the society that we need to be strong, and we don't let ourselves to show our emotions,
Mm-hmm.
um, to be here and now, as a gestalt therapist, for example, say yes, to live these emotions. And of course, in some situations it is good because it can bring some security and kind of control of situations in our life. But I think when we are doing it all the time like this way, it would
Mm-hmm.
lead to some emotional distress. It will lead to
Mm-hmm.
some health problems when we are
Mm-hmm.
under pressure all the time and being
Yeah.
rational, and we are not allowing ourselves to cry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here is important to understand what is real strengths. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
how we can cope with different situations, and
Mm-hmm.
what is to be, for example, resilient.
Resilient, okay.
Yeah, a lot of employers, they are searching also for resilient employees. Yeah, and this is
Mm-hmm.
also very modern concept nowadays.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
see.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now, when you say, because you said that twice actually, in our environment, in the culture, because every
Mm-hmm.
culture, what I've noticed, coming from different cultures myself,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is different than the other one to a certain extent, or extremely different, you know. And the understanding of being strong, or many other things, are very different. So is that in all cultures, you imagine, that they would say you have to be strong, or men have to be strong? Or is it more you just basically go on and you find a way to have resilience and coping mechanisms? That's what they can naturally, through coaching, consulting, therapy, and so on and so forth. A lot of people can get this tools and information about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
resilience, to coping strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what would you say would be the best thing to initially, so to say, to get this resilience?
Mm-hmm. I would say first of all is to reflect on own feelings, right? To understand first of all yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
understand how do you cope with different situations right now, and if it is like pleasant for you or it is not pleasant at all. And
Mm-hmm.
if you feel that okay, here are my limits, or I cannot push anymore, then
Mm-hmm.
this is your boundary. Yes.
Okay.
And then um you are trying like to observe, yes, yourself and
Mm-hmm.
your boundaries. What is
Mm-hmm.
good for me and what is not good for me? This
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
very important, because this is the point when we then start to reflect, okay, what are our needs,
Mm-hmm.
what do we actually want, what
Mm-hmm.
makes us happy, how should we work, 7 hours per day or 20 hours per day, you know?
Mm-hmm. I see. But see, for some people, when you're saying that they're in a system, like for example the Japanese,
Mhm.
that's a good
Yeah.
example. The Japanese, they are very much focused or conditioned
Mhm.
through their environment and their culture to be very
Yes.
hardworking, to be persistent. They have a path when you're born, from when they're born. You're born, you have to go to school, you got to make your best grades. After that, you go to college. They have to get, and then after that, you go to the to get a job, and then so on and so forth. And this is already, and if they just go a bit aside,
Mhm.
it's
They are
that's it,
out
it's
of
over.
the system. Yes.
It's over, and that's why a lot of suicides happen, because of
Yes.
this, of
Yes.
pressure of being strong and so forth. And they work amazingly. I mean, they work 12, 13 hours a day at least. They're pushed into this, you know. Anyway, that's the whole system that they do. They're falling asleep standing right in the underground, you know. But uh, coming to also what you said earlier, you have to reflect,
Mhm.
right? That's
Yes.
one thing I tell everyone, that please do understand that you don't know yourself. At
Mhm.
least not the way you think you do, you know. And sometimes I ask people, we always go back to that. I already had a talk before regarding belief systems and so forth. I mean, what you believe, what your conditioning is, and so forth. But in any place that I look at and I talk to my clients, I talk about, how is it, who are you? Are you who you are, or are you the one that was told to you who you are?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know?
Yes.
I have a good example on that, and it's a very lovely old lady, okay, who is my mother, okay.
In real
She,
life or is
real life. I'm outing this right now. I'm outing it.
oh.
You know, she was told from the beginning of her time that, you know, you can't do this, because she was the youngest one in the family. Everybody had to take care of her, and, you know, which is nice, you know. And then anything that she would want to do, she had to ask, and they go, no, no, you know, that's too tough. No, you know, you're not strong enough. Oh, you're too emotional. Oh, you're that. Oh, you are so and so forth. You know, of course, that goes in. You know, that goes in. It goes in your subconscious, unconscious mind. What, you know, it goes in there, and it begins to rule. So everything you look at, then you say, oh, I can't do that. This is too much for me. I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough to do this. I'm not strong enough to take this pain. And what she has shown to me, and while I do a lot of research as well, I'm a psychologist, you know, psychotherapist. I see a lot of things in a different light, very different light. And I told her, you have done A, B, C, D, F, E, G, F. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole alphabet. You've done all of that. The person that you imagine you would be, look at that person. Would that person be able to do this? And she was quiet, you know. And she said, actually, yeah, you're right, but I don't know how I feel that way. I'm like, it's very easy, because you were told this.
Yes.
It was placed into your psyche that you're weak, okay? That's, so to say, that's one thing. Now coming to staying in the thing about being strong and not crying, maybe not crying in front of others and you go in your own corner, you cry. Sometimes you have to be strong to show, to give to your environment, to your family, this feeling that, hey guys, I'll stand there for you. So give them comfort, despite you not really feeling that bubble. You have to do it for them, you know. Some are like, they show as if they're strong. When you look inside, they're this small, because they have to show it for whatever that they want to hide, or they think they have to hide that, you know.
Is this
So
the inner child in ourselves, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, inner child. I mean, and it's I'm telling that to everybody. It is very important to keep this inner child alive. I would say that, and the reason I say that, because that inner child has a lot of fun, likes to have fun a lot of times.
Yes.
You know, it gives you energy, you know, to do certain things. Where they look at you and they're like, oh my God, you're like 70 years old and you're acting like a 15-year-old. Good for you. If you're having a good time, why not? You know, this thing I just wanted to get out, because go ahead.
Yeah, this is actually what we are doing also in the therapy. We figure out what our inner child wants, right? And we try to learn how to fulfill the needs of this child, because if we are not paying attention to our inner child, then we will end up in this distress, we will end up with health problems, right? This is like the mother or the father are carrying the child, yes, in the early years, and they give them the food, and this is actually the function that we have to have in our adult lives as well, yes, to be a good mother or a good father for yourself, to give something good for your inner child, yes, and to figure out what this child needs. And this is so interesting. You told about your mom, and this is a very, thank you for that. Really.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, an example, for example, how the information is being transmitted generation to generation. Yeah, and it is important, for example, in the therapy also to figure out that issues that we say it is not okay for me, and to try to analyze how we can change it. so that, for example, our kids don't receive this kind of issues, right?
Right. Okay. No. I understand what you're saying. But one thing I sense, because I'm telling everybody this too now, when you go in the direction of psychology and so forth, the first thing that is good is you turn your view inwards, you know, because it's through the filters that you're seeing everything outside. So outside is a lot of projections and things that you do, you know. So I found a lot of things there myself too. But I sense this thing right now, as you're talking about inner child, because this inner child thing has been going on for so long without people really knowing about it. They go, this is anything that happened, that's your inner child. That's your inner child, you know. But it's not, please bear with me, because imagine your inner child is you being the young or youngest person within you that you have had, that you've experienced, and like an onion, that everything, all these things have come together to be who you are today, and it's expanding too, by the way. It doesn't stop there. So not to forget where it originated, and the good things about it. Of course, some people may not have had a good childhood. Okay, looking into that and seeing what beliefs you had there to change that. Okay, for example, your father told you have to be strong. Boys don't cry.
Yeah.
These are all things that go, and that follows you through. You know, that follows you through. One question that we also got was regarding being strong also in the work environment, meaning that you, especially in the US, and a lot of places that are very focused on performance. Naturally, performance is important if you, as your whole, are healthy. Not just working out and pumping iron and running, and that's great. That's great, by the way. But inside you need to do that training for the inside too, you know. And if you're not like that, you cannot perform well. So the pressure gets even more.
Yes.
So now they're talking about burnouts. Okay. The first time I heard about burnout was actually when I was doing athletic stuff. I was doing very high intensity gym and workout and running and all that, and where I couldn't do it anymore, even though I was very enthusiastic to do it, but my body wouldn't. I'd do whatever and I'll just still feel weak. And they said, man, you got a burnout. I didn't burn anything, I didn't understand it then. But now this so to say, this phrase, this word has come also in the working environment. We get a lot of burnouts there because of the stress that they have. What can you say about the being strong in the working environments? Not only family, but working environment that you have to perform, and that has a lot to do with you losing your job, maybe. So stress goes on. So what do you have to say about the work burnout?
It is very important to remember that the best way to predict this kind of situation is to prevent them. Yes. To work on your lifestyle, on understanding what makes you happy. Yes. Does it make you happy to work so much and then run into the burnout? Or do
but somebody says, hey, somebody would say, wait a minute. I have to work. I have to pay my rent. I have to do this. Happiness. Forget happiness. I have to do this. What you're saying is already, I think, way ahead, going ahead of thinking actually about yourself. A lot of people, they do this for a purpose, and the purpose is not just do what you love. I've heard a lot about this. Do what you love, and the money will come by itself. Well, yes and no. Sometimes you have to go through hell to get to heaven. Sometimes you have to do very difficult things to get to where you like to go. And if this whole happiness is a distance, it's a reach, it's an outreach, and it's not really there, and the bills are there instead of the happiness, so, and the burnout comes. What would you say to those kind of people?
I would just correct a little bit. I was talking about the happiness, what we can feel in this moment, right now.
Okay, okay.
It is about this fulfilling of our needs, right? What
Mhm.
do we need now in order to be happy? For example, to spend a little bit time with the family, that would make us would make us stronger, for example.
Mhm.
Or to work today just till 6 p.m. and say to my colleagues, I'm sorry, I cannot anymore. I have like a contract till 6 o'clock, you know, I cannot
I see.
stay any longer. This is
Mhm.
also how you can prevent the burnout, to set
Mhm.
boundaries, to get help from your nearest persons, right?
Mhm.
And
From the
this
resources that you have, yes, okay.
resources, yes, and this is actually the happiness that we can feel here and now. Of course, we need to
Mhm.
have to pay bills and to work hard, and sometimes it is not appropriate to go for a walk with the family, but
Mhm.
if we try to develop this in us, it will
Yeah.
prevent us from the
Mhm.
burnout, from the distress that we have, from
Mhm.
fights at work, in the
Right.
family, and stuff like that. So this is kind of the about the lifestyle, yes, because
I see.
also the medicine goes personal nowadays.
Mhm.
We the whole paradigm of medicine is now changing, because we
Mhm.
understand how it is important to have a good lifestyle, to know the own boundaries, for example, to feel these limits,
Mhm.
yes, to
Mhm.
know, okay, if I will work 2 hours more, it will affect me, so I would
Mhm.
rather prevent it by doing what is appropriate in that situation.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Okay.
sometimes we think that it is impossible, that
Mhm.
the world will fall into the catastrophe without us.
Mhm.
But actually, it is not like that.
Yeah. Okay. No, no, I know. I understand exactly what you're saying. See, another thing that comes in every talk that I have, or with the clients that I talk to, these things come always. First of all, to getting to know yourself and ways to finding that out. The
Mhm.
second thing, what you said right now, I think all you meant by that is a certain balance.
Yeah.
The work sucks. The work is terrible. I hate my boss. All this
Mhm.
terrible things. Okay, and it is what it is for that amount of time. Okay, but when you're going through hell, so to say, as Churchill said, keep going because it's going to end eventually. You know, don't stop. Uh, you have certain resources which when you're so much stuck in this stress,
Mhm.
you cannot think of anything else, and your resources, your family, doing something that pleases you.
Yes.
Okay, and that I don't mean that by drugs or any of that, but
Mhm.
something that will please you. Okay, you can have a drink here and there, fine, but as long as you don't get stuck to that either, that's the only way of balance. That's
Mhm.
starting getting addiction and so forth. So be aware of that.
Mhm.
But certain things that you really like doing, spending certain quality time with a person,
Yeah.
being around loved ones. Uh, I mean, I'll give you what I do. I always give examples. I
Mhm.
had a very rough and hard day, and I had to get certain things done. And I was feeling it. I was really feeling it. And I told myself, you know what? When you get this done, okay, you're gonna go have a beautiful steak. I don't eat that much meat, but that was one thing that I said. A good
True.
steak and a nice glass of wine and some
Yeah.
salad. I'll sit there, and I was thinking of that. I already felt better.
Mhm.
I already felt better saying I'm going to do that. Not really focusing alone on the hell that I was going through, but on something which very soon I'll be doing that I can do. Okay.
Yes.
This was an example for me. Okay. For somebody else, could be something else.
To make
so with that,
for yourself, for example. Yes, also very good practice.
For example, yes.
Go for a nice dinner. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, to do something that, I mean, for everybody is different, you know. But I'm saying something which would bring this a bit into equilibrium. Because if you're in the mode and long enough, it's very hard to get out of there, you know. Getting into the mode of this stress the whole time, you will not be able to do the other one either, and it keeps you like stuck, so to say. 1 second, wait, what we had? Okay.
Yes, for example, for women, it could be just to spend time alone.
Okay, we just have a.
Because
I'm just telling you, we just have a question. I'm sorry, Natalia.
yeah.
There's also one thing that says, if work makes you burn out, then it's already too late to stand out. Maybe it's a good time to trigger and search another job. Yeah, of course. I mean, there are many different ways of handling this. This is different, you know. Some people cannot think of themselves doing any other job. They say they're not good enough, they're not strong enough, they're not this enough, they're not that enough, okay? But after a while, as I said, when pain gets to a level of in German, I'll say it again, it's called Leidensdruck, basically the pain of pressure of pain, then it comes to a point that you say, hey, that's it, I'm going to do that, but think smart, please, don't just explode, you know. Think smart and look for other jobs. That's not a problem. And regarding another thing about burnout that I am trying to be strong because of the burnout, okay? Principally, if you enjoy doing having a vocation that you really enjoy, okay, then that's not really quote unquote the work, because work has a kind of a semi-negative connotation to it. Then you're doing something that you're enjoying, and by doing something that you're enjoying, there will be no burnout. You get energized by doing it, okay? Now, the other side of that, I gotta say that too, it's not only one way. You're enjoying the job that you're doing, you're enjoying that, and you're getting energized, but it's getting a little too much. Too much of that is coming in. It's like I'm telling you, you like steaks? Okay, I'll give you steaks in the morning, in the afternoon, and at the night. After 2 days, you cannot even look at a steak anymore. You know, that's what I'm saying. So when that comes and you feel that, first of all, notice it, I would say, if you agree. Notice it, you know, and then see what made you come this way. Did you overdo it already? Did you overdo it? Or are you telling yourself, I know a doctor who is not a very good her character is like, when you go there, as if she wants to punish you, you know, the way she talks to you. and her environment is like really rough and tough as a doctor, you know. And then she says, oh, I love my job. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. And I was really thinking, I'm like, is this the story you've been telling yourself? You know, trying to, you know, if you do, then talk, everybody. Talk is cheap. Action and what you show is the result. That is important. I mean, look at it in yourself. Don't just talk about it. Okay? Show it. If you love your job, then I think you'll be a little different, unless there's some issue that you have, not due to your job, but with your own personality that you like to get everybody down on the floor to make yourself feel better. That's something else. That has nothing to do with the job anymore. You know. So that is something I think which should be understood by the person themselves too. Okay.
Yes.
And that's why you have counseling. You have. Yes.
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 It has also to deal with expressing yourself, right? Expressing emotions of you that you have, expressing the emotions of this inner child as well. Yes. And what we were talking at the beginning of our session, that crying is not good. We have to be strong. We have to not show our emotions. No, actually, it is healthy to cry also, and to say, oh, I'm feeling myself so weak now, but I express it, yes. By expressing it, this pressure already goes down, goes lower, right? This is like kind of a recharge that you can make with yourself. Very good.
And I also,
yeah,
and I also say, because I don't only go to the rosy part of it. There is a rosy part as well, but I try to make it more, how to say, pragmatic. Okay, you're in an environment where you are not allowed to show weakness. Okay, but you cry, you watch a movie, you get emotionally involved, and think that's fine, that's great. You're more in touch with yourself. And by the way, everyone, you have a masculine and a feminine side, all of you, guys and girls, okay, men and women, you have that. So it's also good to keep a balance there too. So you have to deal with, you have to cope with it. You have to show that. For all I care, make the best in coping with that by acting a certain way that you have to act. But do not confuse that is you fully. What you are, that's a part of you. Okay, there are many different parts that make you fully.
Amazing, Ali. Yes.
Yes.
Amazing.
You know that it is. And when you do that and you see yourself, why am I saying this? Because for example, I had again personal experience. Okay, and I do music. You know, from hearing, I do music, arts, this and that. But I'm also very analytic with numbers. You know, with structures and everything. You know. And then I told myself, I told some people, they're like, what are you now? Are you an analytical mind, or are you an artist?
Creative.
I thought to myself, are you creative? And I'm like, I can't be two. It can't be. So I had a huge issue with it. Where am I? Which one am I? Guys, everybody, you're a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay? You have all these different parts. And depending on where you are, that's even better for you, because you can trigger it, you know. And some people would say, oh, well, then you're not genuine. That's biggest BS I've heard, okay? Don't let this get through to you. Don't, okay? Because you can be that, and it's up to you. You have a general way of the way you are, which you know to a certain extent. The more you find out, the more this gets bigger, okay? And when you are there, then you can cope with many different situations differently. Some places, you're strong, because that's what you have. Some places you show compassion and you're soft, you know. Just because you're a strong person, that doesn't mean you got to go whack everybody and everything like a person without a head. You know, that I am a strong person, that means I'm a brutal person, that means I'm this and that, and therefore I act accordingly. No, you're not. You're a lot more than that. And that's why, again, get to know yourself better, find ways to that, find a balance, know your resources, where this would support you in times of adversity. You know, you can be strong in certain context, you can be extremely weak in another context. That doesn't mean am I this or am I that? Man, you're both. Lady, you're both.
Yes.
You know, find out what these things are. And now today, we can like pinpoint it down to how to not needing to show that you're strong, not needing, despite there are certain sort of issues at hand that a strong person could take care of it, okay? Not needing to do that. How do you have to see yourself to be able to do that? That I talked about the part work, I talked about different parts and this and that. Okay, that's already informed, but not practically. What would you say to that?
Well, it is important to understand that we have to accept all these states of us that we have. And
Okay.
if we don't want to manage something, it is our right not to want to manage something. And it will be not weak or strong or whatever. Don't like think in these stereotypes. What is strong, what is not strong, what is weak. Just see what do you want, what you don't want, because then you accept the state you are being in, and also you try to solve it the best way you can for yourself. Yeah.
Okay. And keeping, because there are at least two different scenarios here. I'm generalizing because if you want to go down to the sub scenarios, there are thousands of them. Just two main scenarios. One thing where you have to do that to be strong or show that you're capable of being confident, strong, etc. Okay, when you are there for others, that's one thing. For your family, for your loved ones, and so forth. You know, when they are showing that they're weak or they need support, even though you are weak, I think that's a huge strength to step up and do that. That's one thing. The other thing would be if you have to show that in a not familial, but professional place. Professional place. That's a different context again. And strength doesn't only comes from being like the cliche way of looking at it, that I'm strong because I'm this, I'm that, and I have no emotions like that. Okay, whatever. But it comes, for example, when you know that you are wrong and you admit to it. That takes strength too.
Yes.
That is very, very strong too.
Yes.
One thing, because a lot of people who get into arguments and they want to be right. They want to be right, okay? One guy who I admire, he's a physicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think he is. His name is. He said the challenge is this, and listen to this carefully. The challenge is this: knowing enough about the subject, a subject or the subject, to think you are right, but not knowing enough about the subject to know you are wrong.
Wow, this is amazing phrase.
You know, which blew my mind. Which, if you can think so far, and thinking also has a way, people can even teach you how to think properly, you know. To understand that till now, I thought about the subject, and it was, I think I'm right. I'm right. And then you find out later on, you got to know more about the subject, that you're like, oh shoot, actually I'm wrong. You know,
it's okay.
Now, and it's okay. No, but for you, you're gonna look terrible in front of others. You got this, but the strength, I would say, to come there and say, guys, you know what? Because of this and this and that, I thought I was right, but you were right, and I was wrong. I think that shows a lot of strength.
Yes, Ali.
And
amazing.
And I would.
Amazing.
Yes.
True.
So, again, if there are, okay, another question that came is how to overcome stereotypes. You know, we were talking about stereotypes, what is strong, what is not strong, how do you say, how to see through it or overcome it. Stereotypes, it's family, cultural, you know, all that. And this all in pertaining strong, to being strong, you know. Being strong maybe in Japan is different than being strong in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being strong, I'm not just saying different continents, but, okay, what did I hear?
Sorry, it was my Siri.
Oh, it was yours. Okay, all right.
Yes.
You know, okay.
Reacted to
Hi,
your
Siri,
voice.
to my voice. Oh my goodness. All right. So basically, getting over stereotypes and saying, you know, being strong means this and that. Being strong in family means this and that. Being strong in this culture means this and that.
I would
How do you know it's stereotypes?
say, yes, what is strong for you, first of all, to define it for yourself.
So before that, you have to know who you are first more.
Yes, yes. That's why
Yes,
you need to take therapy to discover it.
Yes, I mean, or counseling it. Yes, yes.
It's all the time easier when you are with a professional, and when you work together, then it is more effective. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yes, yes. Talking about the stereotyping and so forth. So you said basically you have to try to blank out all these things around you from your environment and look within. That's so much easier said than done, Natalia.
Yes,
That's so much easier said than done.
Of course,
because
we
your
have
environment.
to consider the environment, because we are living in this environment. It is okay. Yes, we have to consider what is happening in the family, in our culture, in our country, but not to forget about our self-definition. This is the core, let's say, that we are building, and that gives us then the strength in all further situations.
So it's okay not to be strong per se. It's okay.
We have to define what is strong.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because as I said, we have a short time, and we're talking about being strong. But so we took a few examples there, and it always comes down again to this thing of acknowledging, and every new situation that you see, which is an experience, see how you're reacting to it. You know, are you reflecting on it, or are you just reacting because it's something which you have been conditioned to do so? You know? And the other thing is naturally your environment has a lot of, because there's always this thing in psychology, which has been there for forever. This kind of a thing. Is it nature or is it nurture? And by that we mean, is somebody has his nature, that's how this person is, or nurture, how the environment has formed this individual, you know?
Both,
so which one?
Actually. There is a constant interaction between us and the
We
are all people, we are social, yes? So we have to consider ourselves in the environment, sure.
Yeah, and the environment, from what I've also found out, even because that comes now to scientifically also speaking, some people say, you know, this is how your family is, this is what your genes are. If your family, they've been having this diseases all this time, and it's going on for generations, you will get it too, you know, and that scares everybody away. That scares a lot of people, so they don't want to know about it, and that's really scares them. Like Angelina Jolie, I heard years ago, because the parents or the mother or whatever, they've had breast cancer, to just get over it, she went and just got rid of both of her tits, her breasts. Sorry, you know, she got rid of it. You know, now it's already several years with our technology that we've come so far, where we know this thing. I don't know if you've probably heard of it, epigenetics. Okay, epigenetics. Epi is Greek, saying basically epi, on top of the genes, and the genes are nothing other than Christmas lights. They get, so to say, triggered or not triggered. They're not on all the time. It depends. And when that happens, depending on your environment has power over your genes. They did this. To get to know more about this, and all the researchers and doctors are very, very interested in this. They took monozygote, basically twins from one egg, so to say, who were in different places in the world. So they're pretty much 99.9% the same, you know, so everything would be the same, but they're in two different environments. They did tests on them. Actually, they did tests on 1,600 of them. Okay, and they found out that the environment has changed epigenetics, their genes.
Yes.
One, and a simple one. One was, for example, in the Arctic for a couple of months, and the other one was at home doing his PhD. And they went and they confronted them to cold environment. One almost passed out, and the other one was like scratching himself, like nothing happened. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, here we can add also about the neuroplasticity, which is also the basic of psychotherapy, and why psychotherapy is actually functioning. Yes, because through this environment, through this relationship with the therapist, the neural connections in our brain start to change, to rebuild. Yes.
Right. Yes.
And this is how the therapy works. Through the new environment, new insights, through this awareness that you were talking, also through recognizing, to notice processes, yes, and then to decide, do we want to change it, or is it okay for us? Yes, so we have this choice to choose what.
Yeah, actually, choosing, that's not something many people think that's how it is. The world is it's rigid. It's written in stone, and that's what it is. But there is, but that's not really true. Things are very malleable, and for those who don't, this is new for them. And neuroplasticity, what that means, it is basically that your brain, depending on your environment, your thoughts, and so forth, changes form even. Okay. Plasticity, so it begins to change form, and this is happening, and this does not depend on your age or any of that. It does all the time. So that's why it's also very important to understand that you keep on training yourself by getting new things, and you won't have any problems with dementia, you know, Alzheimer's.
All that is the past. Is the past. It's gone.
You have a phone call.
I don't know. I turned everything off. I said, do not disturb. I don't know why this happened.
But I cannot hear you that well right now.
Can you hear me
now? I hear myself also.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and myself too, but it's fine. We have like 7 minutes left.
That's fine. But about neuroplasticity, one thing that I can say more about this, we can also talk on our next next sessions to basically close. And Nataliya, thank you so much. I just want to wrap this up a little bit, and it was a pleasure also talking to you. Well, one thing that I like to tell everybody, it is important for us to naturally get your comments. You can write it on Instagram for us, Tokitus Official. If you have, you can also write an email to hello@tokitus.com. And last not least, if you have liked this or seen other recorded, so to say, parts which you liked, you can pass it on also to those who you believe would be interested in seeing this. And naturally, if it's recorded, you can go front or back, so you can get over certain places that is not of interest and some which is of interest to you. We'll be back again next week on time, 4 p.m. GMT, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, our audience, again, and maybe more of them. And all in all, I'd like to thank you once again, Nataliya, for your time and for your information that you give me.
Thank you too, Ali, for this conversation. Okay? It was very interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And goodbye to everyone. Thank you until next week.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.